It began on a noisy train. Ella sat, eyes glued to her phone, heart racing with unfinished tasks. Then, a voice from a meditation app whispered, "Take a breath." She paused. Inhale, exhale. For the first time in days, she noticed the rain on the window, the rhythm of the tracks. That one breath changed everything. This is how she discovered mindfulness, and how you can too. Myra's life moved fast, meetings, messages, multitasking, but something inside her felt lost, like she was sleepwalking through days that never slowed down. One quiet morning, staring at her untouched coffee, she remembered her friend Liam's words, "Mindfulness changed everything for me." She had laughed then. Now, she was listening. She searched "how to practice mindfulness" on her phone, curious but skeptical, scrolling past articles until one line caught her eye: begin with just one breath. She paused, closed her eyes, and inhaled slowly. For a few seconds, her mind didn't race, it floated. When the breath left her body, something shifted inside. That breath led to another. Then a guided meditation. Then 5 quiet minutes by her window, where wind moved through leaves, and her thoughts gently slowed. She expected silence, maybe stillness, but mindfulness wasn't about emptiness. It was about presence, being awake to life, breath by breath, moment by moment. Her first practice was clumsy. Thoughts came fast, groceries, emails, memories, but instead of pushing them away, she noticed them, labeled them, and came back. She read, "Mindfulness is returning," again and again, to now. Each time her mind wandered, she smiled gently and began again, like forgiving an old friend. Mira made a habit of sitting 5 minutes each morning. The world still buzzed around her, but she created a still point, a quiet circle in a spinning day. She practiced mindful walking in the park, feeling each footstep touch the ground, hearing birds, noticing sunlight on her arms like it was the first time. Eating changed too. No more scrolling while chewing. She savored food, the crunch of an apple, the warmth of tea, the gratitude for the hands that made it. She tried mindful driving, mindful listening, mindful showering. Not every moment was profound, but every act became a choice, no longer ruled by autopilot. On hard days, her thoughts stormed and tangled. But mindfulness reminded her, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. She explored body scans, starting at her toes, moving slowly upward, breathing into tightness. It brought her back to her body, her anchor in the present. At work, she took 3 conscious breaths before meetings. They didn't fix stress, but they gave her space to respond instead of react. One night, stuck in traffic, she felt frustration rise. She gripped the wheel, then paused. She inhaled, and just like that, she softened without speaking. Mira joined a community mindfulness group, strangers sitting in shared silence. No pressure to perform, no words needed, just breath and presence together. They practiced loving kindness meditation. May I be happy, may you be safe. She sent kindness to strangers, friends, and even people who once hurt her. Her heart stretched in quiet ways. She felt more connected, less defensive. Mindfulness didn't change others, but it changed how she met the world. She brought mindfulness into conversations. She listened fully, without planning her reply, without judgment. People felt it. They opened up to her more. Her phone still buzzed. Deadlines still came, but she lived from a quieter center now, less hurried, more aware of life as it unfolded. She used small reminders, sticky notes that read, "Just this moment," or gentle alarms that said, "Return to breath." They guided her back home. Mindfulness became less of a task and more of a relationship, with herself, her breath, her life. She felt more alive in the simplest things. She still got lost in thought, still rushed sometimes. But she no longer saw it as failure. She saw it as an invitation. Pause, notice, begin again. During grief, when her dog passed, she didn't numb out. She breathed through tears. She held the sadness gently, letting it come and go like a tide. On her hardest days, she didn't escape the pain. She sat with it, and over time, mindfulness gave her space to feel it without drowning in it. She read Thich Nhat Hanh's words, "Peace is every step." That line stayed with her, echoing in her feet as she walked down familiar streets. She started journaling after each practice. Not goals, just observations, felt distracted. Heard the rain, returned to now. Each note a footprint. Mira shared what she learned with her sister, guiding her through breath awareness. Together, they laughed, breathed, and found quiet even amid chaos. With time, mindfulness wasn't something she did, it was how she lived. A quiet companion, a lens that helped her truly see what was already there. Mira began to notice things she used to miss, shadows moving across her floor, the weight of her body in a chair, the sound of silence between passing cars. Each moment had texture. Her eyes opened wider, not to what was new, but to what had always been quietly waiting to be seen. She tried a mindful pause before reacting to people, a breath before a reply, a breath before criticism. It changed her tone, it changed her relationships. When her partner came home stressed, she listened without fixing. She simply breathed with him, nodding, letting him know he was heard. At the grocery store, when the line grew long and restless, she practiced noticing her impatience instead of feeding it, and it softened on its own. Her therapist once told her, emotions are visitors. Now she saw them come and go like weather systems, each one natural, none permanent. She didn't cling to joy. She didn't run from sadness. She let them all move through her, as guests, welcomed, seen, and eventually released. Mira experimented with digital mindfulness, turning off notifications, checking email only 3 times a day. The space she gained felt like breathing room. Her mornings slowed, wake, breathe, stretch, tea, observe. She no longer jolted into action but arrived in the day with grace and awareness. Even brushing her teeth became a ritual of presence, the feel of bristles, the coolness of water, the scent of mint rising in the air. Mira realized mindfulness wasn't something extra to do. It was how she did what she was already doing, with care, with curiosity, without rush. She made peace with boredom. Instead of reaching for distraction, she let herself feel what boredom actually felt like in her body. It passed. She took walks with no destination, no music, no phone, just her feet, the ground, and the rhythm of each inhale and exhale in the breeze. Her favorite discovery was the space between things, the moment before speaking, the pause after laughter, the stillness between thoughts. One evening, while cooking, she stopped and placed her hand on her chest. She felt it rise and fall. That was enough. That was presence. Her journal entries deepened. I listened without interrupting today. I ate slowly and stopped before full. I noticed rain on my skin and smiled. She read about mindful self-compassion and began speaking to herself kindly. Instead of, "What's wrong with me?" she asked, "What do I need right now?" Her inner critic softened, not gone, but less loud. She could see it as a voice, not the truth. Just like thoughts, just like moods, mindfulness helped her create space, not just mentally, but emotionally. She had room now, within herself, to hold fear, doubt, joy, and gratitude. Mira didn't meditate for hours. She didn't escape to the mountains. She found the sacred in the ordinary, washing her hands, closing her eyes, breathing. She noticed tension building at work one afternoon and took 5 conscious breaths at her desk. They didn't solve her task, but they settled her heart. A colleague asked, "Why are you so calm lately?" She smiled, not with pride, but with quiet knowing. It wasn't about being calm. It was about being here. Her days weren't easier, but her presence made them lighter. She no longer lived ahead of herself. She arrived, again and again, to now. Mira revisited a memory that used to cause her pain. She stayed present, breathed through it, and let it pass through her without shutting down. The past didn't haunt her like it used to. The future didn't scare her like before. The present was enough, rich, full, even when messy. On a walk, she saw a child chasing bubbles, laughing. For a moment, she laughed too, not at the child, but at the joy of noticing such joy. She began planting small reminders around her home, words like, listen, breathe, slow. They weren't commands, they were invitations to return. Mira found herself crying one morning, not from sadness, but from the weight of finally feeling everything she had ignored for so long. And in that moment, she didn't analyze or resist. She sat, breathed, and allowed the fullness of being human to move through her body. That was the day she knew, mindfulness wasn't a habit anymore. It was a way of living, a home she had finally returned to and could carry anywhere. Mira's mornings became rituals of presence rather than routines to rush through. She brewed her tea slowly, feeling the warmth seep into her hands and heart. She started noticing the tiny miracles around her, the delicate patterns on a leaf, the subtle change in sunlight at dusk. Each detail was a new invitation to be fully here, fully awake. Workdays still brought challenges and deadlines, but she met them with steadiness, grounding herself in the breath before each task. She learned that presence was a powerful tool to navigate pressure without drowning in it. When anxiety bubbled up unexpectedly, Mira didn't push it away anymore. She welcomed the feeling, observed it like a passing cloud, and gently returned to her breath. The people around her began to sense the change, too. Her calm was contagious, inspiring patience and kindness in conversations she once feared. She practiced mindful listening, not just hearing words, but truly attending to the silence and emotion beneath them. This deepened her relationships in ways she hadn't imagined. Mira found herself smiling more, not because life was perfect, but because she had found a way to meet it with grace. Each breath reminded her of this simple, powerful truth. In moments of irritation or frustration, she learned to pause, naming the emotion without judgment. This tiny act of awareness was enough to shift her response completely. She began to see mistakes not as failures but as opportunities to return to mindfulness, to practice patience and self-compassion. Each stumble was part of the journey, not the end of it. Evenings became sacred times of reflection, where Mira would gently scan her body for tension and breathe into areas of discomfort. She welcomed rest as a vital part of her mindfulness practice. On weekends, she explored nature with new eyes, walking slowly through parks or forests, allowing herself to be enveloped by the sounds and smells. These moments grounded her deeply in the present, reminding her of life's simple beauty. Mira began journaling again, not to analyze, but to celebrate her small discoveries and steady progress. Each page was a testament to her growing awareness and gentle kindness toward herself. She practiced loving kindness meditation regularly, silently repeating wishes for safety, happiness, and peace to herself and others. This practice opened her heart in unexpected ways. When difficult emotions surfaced, she held them like fragile treasures, breathing with them instead of resisting. Her heart grew stronger through this compassionate acceptance. Mira realized mindfulness wasn't about perfection, it was about showing up, moment by moment, with curiosity and care. This insight freed her from impossible standards. She brought mindfulness into her daily chores, finding joy in washing dishes, folding laundry, and tidying her space. These ordinary acts became expressions of her presence. Her sleep improved, as she learned to wind down with gentle breathing and letting go of the day's worries. Rest was no longer elusive but a nurturing ritual. She noticed how her posture softened as she practiced mindfulness, standing taller yet more relaxed. Her body spoke a language of ease and openness she hadn't known before. Social media still tempted distraction, but Mira used it more mindfully, setting boundaries, noticing her feelings, and choosing what truly nourished her. She reclaimed her attention with gentle intention. She invited mindfulness into family gatherings, modeling presence and calm, which gradually spread like ripples in water. These shared moments grew richer and more connected. Mira's compassion expanded beyond herself to include the planet and all living beings. She felt deeply connected to the web of life, nurturing a sense of belonging. She found that mindfulness didn't make problems disappear, but it gave her the strength to face them with courage and clarity. Her challenges became teachers, not enemies. She practiced gratitude daily, not as a chore but as a heartfelt acknowledgement of life's gifts. Gratitude softened her mind and brightened her spirit. When stress threatened to overwhelm, she returned to her breath, anchoring herself in the safety of the present moment. This simple practice was a lifeline. Mira began teaching mindfulness to friends, sharing her experience with warmth and humility. Her story inspired others to begin their own journeys. She discovered that mindfulness was a path without a final destination, an unfolding adventure of awareness and love. Each day was a new chance to practice. With time, Mira felt more connected to her true self, steady, gentle, and alive. She was no longer defined by the noise of the world but by the calm within. Even in moments of uncertainty, she found a peaceful center she could return to again and again. This inner refuge became her greatest strength. Mira's journey showed her that mindfulness was not a technique but a way of being, open, present, and compassionate. It was a home she carried within, wherever life took her. And with every breath, she remembered, here, now, this moment is enough. Mira welcomed each morning as a fresh beginning, letting go of yesterday's worries with the sunrise. She found magic in the first light, breathing in new possibilities. Her practice deepened, not by effort, but by gentle curiosity, watching her thoughts as if they were clouds drifting across a wide sky. No need to chase, no need to hold. She learned to embrace silence, those quiet pockets between sounds, where the mind settled and her spirit felt free. Silence became a friend rather than a void. When life threw unexpected challenges, Mira didn't resist the waves of emotion. She met them with open arms and a steady breath, letting them teach her resilience. She noticed how small moments of kindness, both given and received, illuminated her day with warmth. Mindfulness opened her heart to these simple acts of grace. Even in the busiest moments, she remembered to pause, inhale, and exhale fully. These breaths created space for calm amidst chaos. Mira explored mindful movement, yoga, stretching, walking, with awareness of each muscle and joint. Her body felt more alive, her mind more present. She celebrated progress without judgment, honoring every step forward and every gentle return after distraction. Mindfulness was a dance, not a destination. During conversations, she noticed the power of silence and pause, allowing space for deeper understanding to grow. Listening became a sacred act. Mira's gratitude blossomed, a daily practice of noticing beauty, rain on leaves, laughter shared, a warm cup of tea. Gratitude turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. She practiced letting go of control, accepting what was without resistance or complaint. This surrender brought surprising freedom. Even when overwhelmed, she used breath as an anchor, a constant thread weaving her back to presence. Breath was her steady companion. Mira found joy in imperfections, messy rooms, forgotten tasks, moments of forgetfulness, seeing them as part of life's rich tapestry. Mindfulness nurtured her self-compassion. She discovered that kindness toward herself made kindness toward others more natural and abundant. Self-love was the root of all love. When the world felt heavy, Mira focused on one small act of care, a smile, a gentle touch, a kind word. These ripples created waves of connection. She began to understand that presence was not about doing less, but about doing with more awareness and intention. Every action became a meditation. Mira noticed how nature mirrored her inner state, seasons of growth, rest, storm, and calm. She learned to flow with these rhythms. She welcomed uncertainty with curiosity, letting go of the need to have all the answers. Mindfulness taught her to trust the journey. Even in moments of sadness, she found tenderness, breathing through pain without resistance. This gentle presence transformed suffering into healing. Mira shared her practice openly, inviting others to explore their own path with patience and openness. Community deepened her experience. She realized that mindfulness was a lifelong companion, always available, always gentle, always real. It was a gift she could unwrap anew each day. Her breath connected her to the present, to herself, and to the world around her in profound ways. This simple act held infinite power. Mira's heart expanded with each practice, growing more patient, more kind, more awake. Mindfulness was love in motion. She found peace not by escaping life, but by embracing it fully, moment by moment. Presence was her true refuge. When distractions came, she smiled and gently returned to now, over and over again. This patient practice strengthened her. Mira realized the power of choice. She could choose awareness, compassion, and peace at any moment. This freedom changed everything. She held space for herself and others with openness and acceptance. This presence healed wounds old and new. Mindfulness became the lens through which she saw her life, clear, vivid, and full of possibility. Each breath was a new beginning. Mira's journey was not perfect or linear, but rich with lessons and love. She cherished each step, knowing she was exactly where she needed to be. And in every breath, she found home, the place where she was always welcome, always safe, always present. Here, now, was everything. Mira's practice became a quiet revolution within, soft, steady, unshakable. Her breath was the anchor in every storm. She learned to greet each emotion as an old friend, with kindness and curiosity. Even fear and anger found gentle space in her heart. When her mind wandered, as it always did, she laughed softly and guided it back without blame. This forgiveness was the heart of mindfulness. She found beauty in the ordinary, in the way light filtered through curtains, or how the wind whispered in trees. Presence made every moment precious. Mira's connection to others deepened. She saw them not as problems to fix but as fellow travelers on the path. Compassion blossomed naturally. She practiced gratitude not just for joy but for challenges that taught her resilience. Every experience became a teacher. Her body felt alive, a vessel of breath and sensation she honored with mindful movement and rest. She listened to its wisdom with reverence. Mira embraced silence as a sacred space, a doorway to stillness and insight. In that quiet, she met herself fully. She carried mindfulness into the world with humility, knowing the journey was lifelong and ever unfolding. There was no finish line, only practice. Mira realized that presence was a gift she could offer freely, to herself, to others, to life. This generosity transformed her days. Even in moments of uncertainty, she stood firm in awareness, a calm observer of life's ebb and flow. Her breath was a steady lighthouse. She welcomed impermanence, knowing that all things change and that this too was a natural rhythm. This acceptance freed her heart. Mira's mindfulness rippled outward, touching friends, family, and strangers alike with gentle kindness. Presence became a bridge connecting souls. She saw clearly now that happiness was not a distant goal but a choice made moment by moment. Joy was found in simply being. Her practice taught her to listen deeply, to the world, to others, and most importantly, to herself. This listening healed wounds old and new. Mira's breath became a mantra, a reminder of life's preciousness and the beauty of now. With each inhale and exhale, she found peace. She learned to rest fully, body, mind, and spirit, knowing that rest was as vital as movement. Mindfulness honored her limits and strengths alike. Challenges still came, but Mira met them with grace, guided by her steady practice. She was no longer swept away by fear or doubt. She found joy in simple acts, smiling at a stranger, feeling rain on her face, savoring a quiet moment. These small moments were treasures. Mira's heart grew soft and strong at once, open to life's pain and joy without resistance. This balance was mindfulness in action. She embraced herself fully, flaws and all, with a gentle, loving presence. This acceptance was healing beyond words. In her journey, Mira discovered that mindfulness was not just a practice but a way of living with authenticity and love. It shaped her every moment. She carried this awareness into every corner of her life, work, play, rest, and relationships. Mindfulness was the thread weaving it all together. Mira smiled often now, not because life was perfect, but because she had found peace amidst imperfection. Her heart was home. She understood that presence was a continual unfolding, a dance of attention and surrender. Each breath a step in the dance. Her story was one of patience, kindness, and endless return to now. This was the true path of mindfulness. Mira's practice didn't erase challenges but transformed her relationship with them. Fear gave way to courage, judgment to compassion. Her life blossomed from within. She became a beacon of calm and presence, a reminder that peace is possible in every moment. Her breath was her gift to the world. And in the quiet spaces between breaths, Mira found the deepest truth. Here. Now. Always enough. With every inhale and exhale, she lived fully, mindful, present, and free. Her journey was her home, and home was here, now. Mira's journey taught her that mindfulness is not a destination but a gentle, ongoing practice, showing up fully to each moment with kindness and curiosity. It's in the simple breath, the pause before reaction, and the quiet acceptance of life's flow. With every mindful step, she found peace, resilience, and a deep connection to herself and the world around her. Here, now, she was truly home.